Aloha class, this is Engage 17. And so who are you accountable to? List 4. So could be whom are you accountable to? Who do you report to? Who do you have to check in with sometimes? So who or whom are you accountable to? So this could be your personal accountability. You can definitely put who you're accountable to, but I will give you a list of who the normal people you're probably accountable to or deity that you're accountable to. So I'd say you're accountable to Heavenly Father or God because we're all agents and we're all in the plan of salvation, and because he knows us and we are indebted to him, things like that. So who else am I accountable to? Probably my family. So I carry my family name. Whatever I do for good or for bad, my family is associated with. Also, I would say all of you, because you are students at BYU Hawaii and you're probably going to be alumni pretty soon, I would say you're accountable to BYU Hawaii because your name is now associated with this university. And so say, for example, this alumni chose a very unethical decision and now it's the front page of the newspaper. You are now associated with BYU Hawaii. You made BYU Hawaii look bad, and also BYU Hawaii is associated with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Also, you could be accountable probably to your employer. Those are some of the main ones. You can add other ones that you feel you're accountable to. I've also heard your pet, right? Like you're accountable for that pet. Other things you can add. Summarize your morals in 3 key words. So I always show respect, or I give back to society, or I conserve, or I reduce or recycle, things like that. Or I believe in karma, or I believe in family, always having family as a key priority. So these are some of your morals. You could do anything that you want that's a moral, something that you believe in. But I'll just do the golden rule because I do believe in the golden rule. You can do whatever you want here. Keep promises and family first. So you can summarize your morals in 3 key words, whatever one you want to do. If you believe in those, then you could definitely do those. So then you just want to read these definitions to help you through the case. So equity, the quality of being fair or impartial. Equity of treatment, you're being fair, impartial, treating all rivals or disputants equally, and bias, prejudice in favor of or against one thing. So if you have bias, you're in favor of one thing or person compared to another. And so now we're going to look at the stand stalemate case. And so this is phase 4-6. And so we're talking about ethics and making ethical decisions. And so rules and decision making. When rules are insufficient for decision making, a 2-part reflective decision making process is recommended. So this is called the CARE Squared decision process aid that can help you make good decisions in ethical dilemmas. And so before you act, care. And so the care stands for, CARE Squared, stands for consider, assess, review, evaluate. The process before action: consistency, accountability, rationality, equity. So equity being fair. And so here's the case. This is the stand stalemate case. While performing the audit on mega company Stand Stalemate, a new auditor with the world's largest public accounting firms learned of confidential and damaging financial information that will likely bankrupt the mega company. Just days later, Stan's Aunt Hazel, an old widow and dear family friend, was visiting for the holiday. Aunt Hazel shared her good news at the dinner table that her son Walter recently was promoted to a high-ranking position with mega company. Aunt Hazel told everyone about Walter's terrific benefit plan, which grants him the right to acquire mega company stock for a big discount price. Aunt Hazel announced that she plans to give Walter all her money to acquire mega company stock. Hazel said that she has been finding it difficult meeting her monthly bills since she lost her husband 2 years ago. So she believes this investment strategy is her answer. Hazel leans over to Stan at the dinner table and whispers, "What do you think, Stan? Good idea." And so the first step is to consider the facts. C. So consider facts, assess alternatives, review resources, evaluate outcomes. So we're going to list the particulars of the situation, assess alternatives, review resources, evaluate outcomes. So, right, this is Aunt Hazel. Stan is, let's go back to the case. Stan stalemates a new auditor at the world's largest public accounting firms. He's learned of confidential, damaging financial information that will make a company likely go bankrupt. Aunt Hazel's deciding to put all of her wealth, all of her money into a stock plan, or give all of her money to her son Walter, which is the cousin of Stan. And so she's going to give all that money to Walter to invest in this mega company stock, and she's finding it difficult to meet her monthly bills. So there's facts here. Assess the alternatives. What could Stan do? So remember, Stan's an auditor. He's under an agreement to keep client confidential information confidential because he's an auditor. So keep that in mind. But he's going to assess alternatives, identify the available options. So he could tell her that's a bad idea. He could say nothing. He could say, why are you investing all of your money in one place? He could ignore her. He could make up a new explanation. So he could do many things. And so first you're going to write down the facts. So on your ethics case write-up, you're going to write down facts in bullet points, and you need 4 bullet points. So these are some of the facts. He could tell Aunt Hazel no. He could say, why don't you go ask your son? He could tell Hazel that she needs to diversify. He could say, I don't know. He could say, you need to consult with a broker. He can inform Aunt Hazel of his professional obligation to not say anything. He can ignore Aunt Hazel's question and say nothing. So review resources, code of professional conduct for your case itself. So I'll need you to write all of these in Engage 17. So consider the facts, assess the alternatives. So please write down 4 bullet points, consider the facts, 4 bullet points, assess the alternatives, review the resources. So you can write down 4 of these, review the resources. For your ethics case write-up, I give you part of the Code of Professional Conduct, and you'll need to match what are we talking about in the Code of Professional Conduct. Specifically, we can't reveal client information that's confidential, and so that's where the Code of Conduct would come here. You need to include that in your ethics write-up. Firm resources, laws that govern Stan's profession, trusted colleagues, personal source of guidance and wisdom that you can always call on Heavenly Father. So for your specific case, you'll need to review resources that can be similar to these answers. Evaluate the outcomes. What could happen to Stan if he discloses this information? Maybe nothing. Maybe Aunt Hazel's money is very small, but maybe something though, because he made a commitment to his firm, but he also made a commitment to his family. So his morals are in question because he puts family first, but he wants to maintain his professionalism as an auditor or maintain the code of conduct. And so Aunt Hazel could lose everything. Then Stan's family might hold him accountable. I know I've heard in class that, what if your family was very abusive? So you don't tell Aunt Hazel anything and she loses all her money and your family comes back to come beat you up or whatever. So that's the role of the auditor. You have to choose the right decision and make the best decision as the auditor, or possibly resign from the engagement and then try to protect your family. And so you made an obligation to your firm that you're not going to disclose confidential information. So you make a decision. So you're going to write down your decision in Engage 17. So list your decision here. What should Stan do? And the best decision that Stan can do is to not say anything. Stan should say nothing. So yes, Aunt Hazel could lose everything. So now we question, thinking mostly of his obligation to not disclose, Stan decides to remain silent to Aunt Hazel's request for information about her investment plans. So before you do this, you want to say, am I being consistent? Would I make the same decision in a similar situation arose in the future? We want to be consistent. Oh, I think this is too big. Let me make this smaller. Would I be consistent if I were to do this to my grandma or my mom or my brother? Would I be, or my best friend? So consistency, you should say, would I do the same thing in this situation? Would I do this if this was $100 or $1,000, right? So would you still make the decision? What if it was under a different circumstance? Would you still make the same decision, or a different person? Accountability. Who is Stan accountable to? So we would go back to our list. I'm accountable to Heavenly Father. So maybe nobody would find out. Nobody would know. Not even the SEC, but Heavenly Father would know. So you're accountable to Him. You're accountable to yourself. I think we should have wrote ourselves. Let's put I'm accountable to myself, because I want to sleep at night. I want to feel good in my conscience. I want to make good ethical decisions. So I'm accountable to myself that I make good choices. Rationality. Am I being impartial? Well, I just don't like my aunt, so that's why I'm being impartial. Or are you just in the heat of the moment? Like, I had a really heated discussion with my aunt, and that's why I'm acting illogically, or I'm acting out of emotion? So would you make this decision in a level-headed decision? Would Stan want to be treated this way? Would I feel the same way if I was treated the same way? And so if you can answer those last two with, you can just do 2 bullet points on these last two. So yes, I'd want to be treated this way if I was in Aunt Hazel's position. So we're going to say you can do 2 bullet points here. Oh, sorry, this will be 4 bullet points. So accountable, we listed people that we're accountable to. And then 2 bullet points over here. Would I want to be treated this way? If I was in Aunt Hazel's position, do I treat everyone regardless of who they are? Am I being fair to everyone in this relationship? So please fill these out. 4 bullet points for all of them, except for R, you can do 2 bullet points, and E, you can do 2 bullet points.